something out of you and me. Are you going to play Madanga or are you going to walk around with a bunch of clothes?
Walk around. You got to get his seat.
No, I appreciate that. Had a rough night over there at the Brazilian village. They had skateboarders in the parking lot all night long. Doing the same stupid thing. You know. Talk about chewing the chew. It's just that 1 inch that does it, isn't it?
Hold on. Can you help me?
No, I'm not incompetent. It's just, it's got its own life. Well, let's try it this way. Let's let gravity work for you. Okay. Think. Hey Govinda. Right now, most of the neighborhood, well, not most of it, many in the neighborhood are out walking their dog, having their first cigarette and a cup of coffee. And they're thinking, I'm in heaven. With their little bag to clean up after the dog. It's inconceivable. Jaya Radho Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Radho Madhava Kunda Bihari Gopi Channa Balaba Girivanadari Gopi Channa Balaba Gopi Channa Balaba Girivanadari Jasoda Nandana Brajanaranjana Jasoda Nandana Brajanaranjana Jamuni Tira Vanatari Jamuna Tiravanatari Jamuna Tiravanatari Jaya Radho Madhava Kunda Bihari Gopi Jana Balaba Divanadari Jasoda Nandana Brajanaranjana Jamuna Tiravanatari Jamuna Tiravanatari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Puri Bhajakacharya Sattva Shrimanis Divine Grace Abhay Charan Bhakti Vedanta Sai Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON DPT Founder Acharya Jagaguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananda Kodavaishya Brinda Ki Namchar Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Shri Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shiva Sari Gaur Bhakta Brinda Ki Say Siddhara Krishna Go Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Mathura Dham Ki Dwarka Dham Ki Navadvip Dham Ki Jagannath-puri Dham Ki Jamuna Mai Ki Ganga Mai Ki Tosi Maharani Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Samveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Srila Prabhupada Ki Say Siddhara Giridhari Ki Sri Krishna Sankirtana Jaga Ki Gopremanandi. All glory to the Sum of devotees. All glory to the Sum of devotees. All glory to the Sum of devotees. All glory to the divine Lotus Sita Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Now we can open that door just a little bit. So there's a cross draft. Is there an echo in here? Yeah, just a little bit. Thanks. Because then it creates a cross draft. And we get these sweet sea breezes. Of course, it's not the same. Prabhupada said in Mayapur, it is so nice you can live on the air, Prabhupada said. Let's take a risk here. This goes down. This should go up. All right, now it's perfect. Except this doesn't tight. This is tight. Huh? Hey Govinda. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Krishna Sudame Pakate Dhamagana Divi Saha Kalana Sadashame Sha Purana Kodarodata. Bhagavatam, Mrs. Brind, is the sun, is arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied with knowledge, religion, etc. Persons who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of the age of Kali should get light out of this Purana. What is the next one? Before beginning, study the Srimad Bhagavatam. Which first off, what is it? Narayana namaskritya naram shaivam narottama devim sarasatim vyasam tato jayam udirayat. Before beginning our study of the Srimad Bhagavatam, we should first offer respects to the personality of God Narayan, to the Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, the goddess of living mother Saraswati, the author Srila Vyasadeva, and the spiritual master Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual master. So, well, who wrote the verse?
I did.
Well, you can tell.
Did I make it wrong?
No. It's very neat and legible and ornament.
I tried hard.
Yeah, no, it looks good. It looks good. It's come from a clean mind. So I guess we should find the verse, huh? It's a good place to start. Etavati eva sushusha karya pitari putrakai badham iti anumanyeta guravena guro vachaha etavati eva sushusha karya pitari putrakahi Bharamiti anumanyeta guravena guro vachaha itavati eva sushusha karya pitari putrakahi Bharamiti anumanyeta guravena guro vachaha itavati eva sushusha karya pitari putrakahi Bhadam miti anumanyata guravena guro vachaha Hitavati eva sushusha karya pitari putrakahi Hitavati eva sushusha Hey, Prabhus, if you can hear us in the kitchen, bang on a pot.
Yeah.
Was that the banging on a pot? Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Itavati. To this extent. Eva. Exactly. Sushusha. Service. Karya. Ought to be rendered. Pitari. To the father. Putrakahi. By the sons. Bharamiti. Accepting, yes sir. Anumanyeta. He should obey. Guravena. with due deference.
with due deference.
Guru, of the Guru.
Of the Guru.
Vacha,
Vacha,
commands.
commands.
Translation. Sons ought to render service to their father exactly to this extent. One should obey the command of his father or spiritual master with due deference, saying, "Yes, sir." I'll say, you say. Sons ought to render
Sons ought to render
service to their father
service to their father
exactly to this extent.
exactly to this extent.
One should obey the command
One should obey the command
of his father or spiritual master
of his father or spiritual master
with due deference, saying, "Yes, sir."
saying, "Yes, sir."
Not that I need to get in touch with my inner child and, let me see what 5 other people have to say. 2 words in this verse are very important. One word is pitari, and the other is guru. The son or disciple should accept the words of his spiritual master and father without hesitation. Whatever the father and the spiritual master order should be taken without argument. Yes. There should be no instance in which the disciple or the son says, "This is not correct, I cannot carry it out." When he says that, he is fallen. The father and spiritual master are on the same platform because the spiritual master is the second father. Higher classes are called dvija, twice born. Whenever there is a question of birth, there must be a father. The first birth is made possible by the actual father, and the second birth is made possible by the spiritual master. Sometimes the father and spiritual master may be the same man, and sometimes they are different men. In any case, the order of the father or the order of the spiritual master must be carried out without hesitation, with an immediate yes. There should be no argument. This is a real service. That is real service to the father and to the spiritual master. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has stated that the order of the spiritual master is the life and soul of the disciples. As a man cannot separate his life from his body, a disciple cannot separate the order of the spiritual master from his life. If a disciple follows the instructions of the spiritual master in that way, he is sure to become perfect. This is confirmed in the Upanishads. The import of Vedic instruction is revealed automatically only to one who has implicit faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his spiritual master. One may be materially considered illiterate, an illiterate man, but if he has faith in the spiritual master as well as in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then the meaning of the scriptural revelation is immediately manifest before him. Om Gyanatamadandasya Gyana Gyana Salakaya Jakshushu Militan Gyana Tasade Shri Gurave Namaha. So, someone was asking me the other day, they were thinking about who, they have several people in their mind who they should take initiation from. And key calculation was, who will I get the most personal association with? Who can I see all the time? I can write them and they get back to me within 24 hours. I want to make sure they don't have too many disciples so they can focus on me. But that's not, and it was it's an innocent question. It was a good question, don't get me wrong. But Prabhupada talks about keeping the guru as a pet. And we think, oh, that means the Indians who just want some blessing. They want a guru there that, can you fix my knee, or can you get my kid into Harvard, But it is the same mentality that the guru's a pen pal, the guru's a pet, the guru's there to solve my problems. Prabhupada asked his spiritual master one question. Anyone know the one question Prabhupada asked his father? When's lunch? How can you tell me how can I make my wife happy? How can I serve you? Probably just the one question he asked. There was a devotee visiting here, and he was criticizing this temple, that temple. He said, actually, the best temple, and this is somebody's got one of those suitcases, with all the stickers of the temples he's been thrown out of. So this guy was, Chaupati, why can't you all be like Chaupati? Radhanath Maharaj's temple. And I said, because I've known the guy for 30 years, I said, there's one thing about Chaupati. You can't say no. First time you say no, you're out. You're out. It's just very, very simple. You don't say no, you know. Radhanath Maharaj jokes, they asked him to be the GBC for New Vrindavan and to make a beachhead like Chaupati. And I tell you, every place has advantage and disadvantage, no doubt about it. But anyway, they wanted him to make a beachhead, a similar, transpose Chaupati to New Vrindavan. You couldn't get it off. You tell Americans, mental, John Wayne, independent, get in touch with their inner child. Everyone's gotten a gold star that you're special since they were 3 years old. Try to get them to, just not say no. Forget it. He couldn't get any traction at all. So here Prabhupada's describing that qualification. Prabhupada said, I was listening to a tape. I think I called Dravida about it some time ago. That Prabhupada had a nice, sweet way of taking taking ordinary terms and transcendentalizing them. Mukunda Maharaj told me some Christian lady, so-called Christian lady, they were on a radio show in San Francisco, and Mukunda Maharaj had gone to the radio station with Srila Prabhupada. And somebody was just, trying to criticize, fundamentalist Christian. And, Prabhupada was explaining a little bit how he started the movement. She said, oh, so you're just a freeloader. You're just a freeloader. Now, a freeloader in America, people don't like people who are on welfare. They don't, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that, if you're not pulling your own weight, you're not pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, if you're a freeloader, especially in the 60s, that was a pejorative. That was it's like saying you're a lazy bum. So Prabhupada's response, because Mukunda Maharaj said Prabhupada was thinking he got free passage on the boat, on the Jaladuta. So Prabhupada, quite chipper, responded, yes. He said, I'm a freeloader to your country. And it frazzled the lady so much that she just hung up. Because she thought, that she'd really punch Prabhupada in the nose, and Prabhupada, yes, freeloader. So Prabhupada, in a similar mood of transit, like brainwash. Well, shouldn't you wash the brain if it's dirty? Prabhupada was unfazed by the term. So, to call someone a yes man means you have no spine, you have no backbone, you have no independent thinking, you're just a yes man. So Prabhupada says in this one tape, the whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita, the whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita was to bring Arjuna from being a no man to a yes man. He was saying no to Krishna, and to bring him to the point of saying yes to Krishna, so a yes man, So we have a transcendental understanding of what it means to be a yes man. But it doesn't mean blind faith or weak-willed or some kind of, low self-esteem. That's not what we're talking about here. But before we get there, because Prabhupada mentions it here, anyone know other than Dravida Prabhu and Balaramji, what animal is twice born? Very good. Why? Defend your answer. Firstborn in the egg. It's a birth. He's living independent of the mother on one hand, of the body of the mother. But what is the real birth? Yeah, when he feels the unfettered freedom, he breaks out of the shell. So Prabhupada says everybody has a mother and father. We can never repay if our parents were, even halfway decent. Prabhupada, Chanakya Pandit says you can never repay the person who teaches you even one letter. So what to speak of the mother and father, especially if they were, tried to do the job. So, okay, we respect our mother, but everybody gets a mother and father. Isn't it? Who is it? Who had this son? Finally got a son, and then the envious co-wives, Chittaketu, and they poisoned the son. And then Narada Muni brought it back. Was it Narada Muni who brought the boy back? And you can imagine, you've been poisoned, yanked out of your body, gone to the court of Yamaraj, jerked back by Narada Muni, how he brought him back in some sublime way. So it's a little disorienting, right? Then you get all these people sobbing around you, and the boy wasn't really reciprocating. So they could pick up on it. And the boy said, just hang on a minute. I've been to a whiplash here. Just tell me who you are, which set of mother and father, and then I'll be able to reciprocate. I've had so many mothers and fathers, so I've kind of forgotten which set you are. So just remind me, and then I'll get into the right bob with you, the right mood. So we've had so many mothers and fathers. But what is the real mother and father, along with this analogy of twice born, other than Dravida and Balaram Prabhu? Anyone want to take a guess? Yeah, I should. Okay, you're out of the game too. Okay, that's a big one. If the spiritual master is the father, which is correct, and he gives the seed, the bija mantra, the transcendental divya gyan, transcendental knowledge. So, and who is the mother? Okay. But in this, nice try. But in this analogy, who is the mother? Janardhanji, you want to take a shot? What? Okay, but it's not in this analogy. Larry? But for the conception of spiritual life, Radharani, it's the Vedas. The Vedas are the mother, the spiritual master is the father, and the proper conception is self-realization. And one actually becomes twice born. Dvija. We had a so-called Brahmin. I forget the circumstances, but the short version is some Indian boy had moved into the temple and the family was flipped. So they called in their community. There's so many communities, and I think there's 24 different types of Patels. So whoever their head of their community was came here, and he went to curse Gunagraj Maharaj because Gunagraj Maharaj was our bhakti leader, and Gunagraj Maharaj wouldn't hand over the young boy. And so the guy he was going to curse him and break his Brahmin thread right out here in front of the temple. But in the course of trying to get his Brahmin thread out, his cigarette pack fell out from his pocket, plop on the ground. So there's Gunagraj Maharaj, there's this guy, and there's the cigarette pack. And, without any, picture's worth 1,000, Gunagraj was just like, come on, The guy was a little sheepish. He had to admit that, maybe he really wasn't such a bona fide Brahmin. So real Dvija is twice born from the spiritual master, and that's what Prabhupada's talking here. Because of the time factor, I wanted to talk about the order of the spiritual master, because what is the basis of the relationship? Prabhupada said you can have Vanu and Vapu. Vani and Vapu. Vapu means, anyone know, other than... Vapu means the body, means personal association. And what does Vani mean? Means the words, means the instructions. Prabhupada said you can be standing right next to me and be in Maya. And Prabhupada said you can be thousands of miles away and be standing right next to me. What is the difference? Yeah, you're following his instructions. Brahmananda told me that Prabhupada told him that a disciple follows all instructions, big and little. One follows the instructions. But is it an onerous burden? Do we grit our teeth? Are we, oh man, I got this stone weight on my head. I order the spiritual master. I have to do this. I have to do that, when you're a kid, you ever connect the dots? You had a deprived child if you didn't do this. You're a kid, you check dot 1, dot 2, and it makes a picture? Yes. Okay. So let's just play a Shastric connect the dots. We want to go back to Godhead. Anyone want to argue that point? We want Krishna. At least you can say this. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Janmani, Janmani, at birth after birth. Okay, fine. But we want Krishna. Anyone want to argue that point? Okay, let's start off with this, our first dot. Now, the question becomes, how to do that? Well, anyone want to argue that Srila Prabhupada was very close to Krishna, empowered by Krishna, a special personality coming from Lord Gauranga's camp. Anyone want to argue that point? I mean, you might as well argue that the sun's not up. I mean, he's just, Okay, so we want to get to Krishna. Then the way to get close to Krishna is to get close to someone who is close to Krishna. Well, that's Srila Prabhupada. Okay. Well, how to get close to Srila Prabhupada? You get close to someone who is close to Srila Prabhupada. That means in his line. That means in his sampradaya, in his institution. You follow someone who's following Srila Prabhupada, you'll get to Prabhupada. And if you get to Prabhupada, you'll get to Krishna. So just connect the dots. And how do you get close to Srila Prabhupada? The first Vyas Puja, Hare Krishna, they offered some, I forget how they did it, but they didn't have any flowers, they didn't have any this, they didn't, Yeah, that was pushpan rice. Somebody went to cook pushpan rice, which is a nice prep, by the way. But the real worship, Shruti Kirti Prabhu told me this. Shruti Kirti Prabhu said, are you getting him some prasadam? Way to go. Prabhupada said the temple is the house of Srimati Radharani. No one should leave without prasadam. Just as a sidelight, Harisari told me, and we'll get back to our point, Harisari told me that when his parents, he was living in Australia, he was born in England, but he'd been hadn't seen his parents for 4 or 5 years somehow or other. By the time he came back, he was a devotee and he was Prabhupada's servant. And he invited his parents down. And Prabhupada had gone into London to do something, there was some program. So Harisari Prabhu stayed back and met his parents. And so when Prabhupada got back, Prabhupada said, how'd it go with your parents? So it was very nice. They liked it. They bought Bhagavad Gita. And I gave them a tour and they saw the deities. And then Prabhupada said, did they get any prasadam? And Harisari, the feast was over and they didn't get any prasadam. And he said Prabhupada wasn't crestfallen because Prabhupada's beyond, the Sojate and the Kanchate, but Prabhupada, was a little disheartened. They didn't get prasadam, so when they come, they should get prasadam. But Shruti Kirti Prabhu told me that they'd arrived somewhere and they were devotees, and not to criticize the devotees who were doing it, it's very nice. They were, jumping up and down and Jai Prabhupada, and shedding tears. It was a big emotional scene, right? Shruti Kirti Prabhu said, Prabhupada, I don't always feel like that. I don't wear my emotions on my sleeve, so to speak, like that. And I feel badly. Is that all right? I mean, I have a steel-framed heart. What's the story? Prabhupada said, do you like your service? He said, oh, very much. He said, are you attached to your service? He said, oh, very much. Prabhupada said, this jumping and dancing, that is the easy part. Not to diminish it at all. But, Jaya Prabhupada, like chanting Hare Krishna means, oh, Lord Krishna, please let me engage me in your service, in your internal potency, which means service. Actually means Srimati Radharani, please engage me in Krishna's service. So we're chanting Hare Krishna, and somebody taps us on the shoulder. Prabhu, can you help with the Sunday? Oh, no. So what is the meaning of your chanting Hare Krishna? You're saying Krishna engage me. I mean, we have to have our allotted time to do our japa nicely. But, so the order of the spiritual master, it is a rope. If you fall into a dark well, and you've all heard this analogy, what is compared to a dark well? I mean, we can say householder life, but if we wanted to broaden it, this whole material world, this whole place is a dark, dense well. Prabhupada points out, if Krishna didn't arrange for the sun in the daytime and the moon at night, it's like you hang a light bulb in a dark closet. It's a dank, dark, dead place. Okay, if I fall into a well, I can't get out on my own. I mean, I can get Acme, spring shoes. I can try so many things. I'm not going to be able to get out of that well. Okay. How do you get out of a well? Help. Oh, okay. Timmy or Lassie, get help. You know, whatever you do, you know. Okay, fine. But is that sufficient? It's necessary, but it's not, other than Dravida Prabhu. It's necessary, and other than Balaram. It's necessary that you have to have someone go get help. Okay, then the help comes back. What do they do? Hey, how you doing down there? Want a sandwich? What do? They lower a rope. But is that sufficient? It's necessary, but is the rope sufficient? You have to grab onto the rope. So in a similar fashion, we are in this material world. And how will we get out? The order of the spiritual master is that rope, and we have to grab onto it. That is our Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, how should we treat our beloved mind, my dear friend, who St. Francis called Brother Ass. He referred to his body and mind as Brother Ass. He said, no, Brother Ass, we're not lying down, we're getting up. You can, someone was, no, Brother Ass, we're not going to eat until our belly explodes. No, we're going to do something different. Intelligence. So, what was I going to say? So, how did Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur say we should have garland in the morning and charnamrita and chandan paste in the evening for the mind, right? No. What did he say? Who knows, other than the stick in a shoe. You beat the mind, bang, 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 bang. And with a shoe in the evening, bang, 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 bang. And what is that stick and shoe? It's the order of the spiritual master. How else are we going to control our mind? We got so many things going on in your head. My son sent me a cartoon, and it's a guy, and they've opened up his head. You know, like surgery, you see the guy with a bandage around it. They've opened up his head, and then they've obviously bandaged it back up. And the surgeon's holding one of those little monkeys, those wind-up monkeys that play the bang, 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 play the cymbals. And the doctor says, oh, we found this in your head. And it's bang, 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 bang. I want, gimme, gimme, gimme. He didn't treat me right. Yeah, she looks good. She looks pretty good. Yeah. Bang, 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 bang. So how do we control that? If you become absorbed in the order of a spiritual master, let me follow the order of my spiritual. It's the pole star. How to go through life. I got a few minutes. You know the saying, an open secret. Suppose I just gave Bhakti Larry. He's a devotee, he'd spend it for Krishna, which is nice. Suppose I just gave you the winning lottery numbers. All you got to do is, I don't know how lottery works. They get different kinds of lotteries, but some you scratch off, I don't know, however it works. But suppose I just gave Larry the winning lottery numbers. It's pretty far out, huh? It's an open secret. There it is. You just go and fill it out. A trained monkey, well, highly trained monkey, could do it. A few bananas and give him the numbers and a pencil, he'll go do it. So Prabhupada describes the order of the spiritual master are it's an open secret. Like, you ever take an open book test when you were a kid? Come on. Isn't it? Open book test? In the Bay Area, in the Oakland School District, you know where the Oakland is, right? Not Auckland, Oakland. 17% of the students graduating class in senior high school couldn't identify the Pacific Ocean on a map. They don't wonder what that big body of water out there is. Come on, So now they have open book tests. But if I give you the answers, it's so simple, Paint by numbers, as they say. And that saving grace is the order of the spiritual master. And it controls the mind, it controls the senses. It's a blessing. If you were, the ISKCON Paint and Construction Company, we had there was a 2-bedroom apartment down here where my office used to be. And Dhruva Maharaj, he was the treasurer. He was in the back bedroom, and I was in the front. You know, there were our offices. And so people could come into Dhruva and not bother me. We put a wall up. But the wall, it only had the door. There was no light in there because everyone was coming in the daytime. So there was only the door, and then there was a door to my office, and then there was a door to Dhruva's office. My neighbor was a typical lout. Do we say lout still? You know, just a wastabout, a drunk, I don't know, you got the idea. Huh? Yeah, exactly. Just, you know, your average Kali Yuga candidate. So I was sleeping and my door was locked. It was nighttime, 2 o'clock in the morning. Dhruva's office was locked. This guy thought it was his apartment. He was in the apartment next to me. He was so drunk, and the door was open, so he came in, opened the door, stumbled in, and then that door shut. So he was in a long, dark hall with no light, and I heard this guy banging around. You know, I was tired. It took me a while to wake up. I heard, "Help me, oh God, please help me, help me." You know, he didn't know, he couldn't find a door, he couldn't find a light, he was banging his head against the wall. He was completely in anxiety, you know. So I just went around out my other door, and I just opened the door. You know, and there was a porch light, so all of a sudden he could see his way out, and he "Oh, thank you, man, thank you, thank you." The guy was shedding tears, you know. Oh, it was pathetic. But the point is, we're like that. We're banging around in this material world lifetime. We have just been to see this man is worth probably at least $50 million, maybe $100 million. And, you know, helps the temple sometimes. But extremely proud. And now at the fag end of life, his health is failing. And what is it? Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall, and all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Old age, disease, it's hitting him. And there's nothing he can do about it. All the money in the world. And he was actually shedding tears. Literally shedding tears. He realized, what have I done with my life? You know? So we're all like that. How does it all end? Where do you... And the order of out of that dark tunnel, the light at the end, how to get there, the open secret is the order of the spiritual master. If we just follow it. In Kali Yuga, it's the most difficult, like artists. We're almost done. But I can tell you, and Prabhupada said artists are half crazy. And it's so hard to find someone to paint the deities. You know why it's so hard?